The text arrived at 8:17 a.m., right as I was pouring coffee. My phone buzzed against the countertop. I glanced down. Girls' trip. Phone off until Monday, smiling face with sunglasses, 2 hearts. It was from my wife. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to reply with a joking, "Have fun." Another part wanted to say, "Be careful, I don't trust you." Instead, I typed calmly, "Enjoy. Can't wait to hear about it." I set the phone down and tried to shake the uneasy feeling that clung to my chest. She had been planning this trip for weeks, bachelorette-like festivities with her closest friends. I told myself it was normal, healthy even, to give her space. But as the hours passed, the quiet in our apartment became heavy, almost oppressive. I noticed the first signs immediately. She had packed lightly, taking her phone charger, but leaving it plugged in at the bedroom, covered under a pile of clothes. I called her once that morning. It went straight to voicemail. I shrugged it off. She's with friends. They're probably on the road. But the knot in my stomach didn't loosen. By that evening, I found myself checking her social media compulsively. Vacation photos popped up slowly. Smiling faces, cocktails, sunsets. But something felt staged. Each photo carefully angled to include her, but never him, the friend she had mentioned casually, just a fun guy from work. Then came the messages. A notification from a messaging app one didn't recognize. My pulse quickened. I opened it and there it was. A photo of her at some rooftop bar, leaning close against a man I didn't know. Not a coworker. Not a casual friend. The way she held his hand across the table, her fingers brushing his, was intimate. I stared at it, unable to move, my mind oscillating between denial and dread. I told myself it couldn't be real. Maybe it's a friend playing a prank. But every message, every new photo chipped away at that defense. When she returned on Monday evening, the apartment smelled faintly of expensive perfume, something I didn't recognize. She smiled at me, kissed my cheek and said, "I missed you." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But there was a hesitation in her eyes, a subtle defensiveness that hadn't been there before. "Did you have fun?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Yeah," she said, brushing past me, setting her bags down. "Girls' trip, you know?" I watched her, remembering our first year together. The way she laughed when I told bad jokes, how her hand fit perfectly in mine during long drives, the quiet Sunday mornings we shared over coffee. All of it felt like a different life. That night I couldn't sleep. I replayed every detail. The sudden weekend getaway, the hidden messages, the avoidance of my calls. Slowly, the truth came into focus. She hadn't been honest. The trip wasn't just with friends. It had become something else. The confrontation was quiet. I didn't shout. I didn't accuse. I simply showed her the messages, the photos, my voice trembling slightly. "Why, Sarah? Was I not enough?" She looked down, ashamed, eyes glistening. I didn't mean for it to happen," she admitted. "I thought it was just harmless, just a little escape. But it got out of control." Her remorse was real, but it couldn't erase the pain. I felt my heart fracture in slow, deliberate pieces. I thought of the mornings when she would wake me with a smile, the dinners we cooked together, the late-night talks about everything and nothing. Each memory now carried a subtle sting, a whisper that maybe some of it had been a lie, or at least incomplete. I spent the next few days in reflection. I walked through the apartment, touching the objects of our shared life. The mugs we bought in Paris, the throw blanket we curled up under on cold nights, and realized that holding on to the relationship as it was would mean ignoring the betrayal. Love alone wasn't enough. Finally, I sat her down. Not in anger, but in quiet resolve. "I can't go back to pretending this didn't happen," I said. "I loved you and I still do. But I need to love myself too." She nodded, tears streaming, and whispered, "I'm so sorry." We parted that evening, not with a dramatic scene, but with the quiet understanding that some bonds, once broken, can't be mended. I learned that love without honesty is fragile, that self-respect is not negotiable, and that heartbreak, painful as it is, can also become the first step toward reclaiming your own life. Weeks later, when I finally packed away the souvenirs from that weekend she had promised to be just fun, I felt a subtle peace. The apartment was quiet but not heavy. I had lost her, yes, but I had found myself. And that, I realized, was something no betrayal could ever take away.